Digital ID, the passion project of former British Prime Minister Tony Blair and others like him, will never do what his sort say it will. That's just my opinion, of course, but I'll tell you why I think that way. It won't do what they say it will, and what they say it will do is keep us safe, because that's not what it's designed to do. As always, it's never about what they say it's about. I say digital ID will never work as advertised, not only because keeping us safe is not and never for a moment was its intended function, but also, and this is more important, it won't work because too many people have learned that fundamental lesson of the last few years, which is to say, it's never about what they say it's about. At this point, I could drone on for a bit about recent excitements and distractions, all of them unfolding in sequence since around 2020, and so detail all the ways in which whatever we were told was happening wasn't at all what was happening. I could do that, but by now I think we all know what I mean. Also, in the interests of keeping things straightforward, I will simply say that in my opinion, everything we're being invited to look at now is, as always, and essentially only about money. It's about money and how the self-proclaimed elites focus all of their attention not on ending war, curing disease, saving the planet, keeping us safe, none of that jazz, but only and always on two things: holding on to the money they've already got, built up over centuries at least, and getting control of all the money that remains, and seeing to it that all the money that will be created in the future out of nothing, as always, the banker's superpower. But back to digital ID and why it won't work. The self-proclaimed elites, the transnational oligarchs, the hereditary families, whatever supervillain name you prefer for the bogeyman, have been working from a playbook for a very long time. As David Icke has been saying for 30 years, it's about having a destination in mind, a destination to which the common herd would refuse to go if you put it to them straight, and so reverse engineering the situation until the common herd begged to be taken to that new place. The brave new world the oligarchs have in mind is one in which the common herd is imprisoned in an invisible cage, in which every thought and action of every member of that herd can be seen, known, and therefore controlled in real time. This nightmare world is achieved via total surveillance, around the clock, penetrating every facet of life. It's predicated on the surrender by every member of the herd of every last ounce of control over his or her life. Now, it almost goes without saying that if that brave new world had been proposed to the common herd on those terms, most would likely have refused. Instead, the playbook, dog-eared from overuse, dictates that the herd won't go where you want them unless they're too scared to stay where they are. Cue the arrival among the herd of scary things, like strangers, new and apparently deadly diseases, war, the end of the world. A few helpings of each administered to the herd almost like injections, and soon enough the herd is so wide-eyed with fear it won't just go where the oligarchs want, it will practically beg to be led there. Just keep us safe, moos the herd. Just keep me and my children safe, and make sure we will still have somewhere, anywhere to live, and something, anything to eat. That's the playbook in summary. Have a destination, then work backwards to set and train a sequence of events driven by relentless propaganda via the mainstream media, and lo and behold, the herd will practically stampede into the circumstances you had in mind for them in the first place. But, and it's an enormous but, too many of the herd have realised what's going on. So blatant, so unconvincing have been the antics of the oligarchs in recent years. Oligarchs grown complacent and lazy after too much success. So obvious is the playbook now that it's all falling apart. And so, again, back to digital ID. Digital ID, I say at least, is the keystone in the oligarch bridge to their brave new world, the key that locks the cage after the last one of us steps inside. But on account of how many people are wide awake and reading the playbook for themselves, digital ID is revealed not as what they say it is, but what it really is. It's never about what they say it's about, remember? Digital ID isn't about keeping us safe. It's about keeping us where they can see us, where we can't move or do anything without permission in advance. Too many people see and understand, and this is why it won't work. As I say, in the end, it's all about money. In every instance, a reasonable person has only to ask, who benefits from this? Who's getting even richer than they were before? Whatever you think the oligarchs would never do in pursuit of money, think again. They would do that. They already have done that. Erasing people, entire peoples, their own people, children, you name it, and it's happened before and will happen again. There are many reasons why the playbook has worn out, and it's not just overuse. That same old playbook has worked for hundreds of years. When all else fails, remember too, they take you to war. Civil wars, the so-called Napoleonic Wars, World War I, that was a cracking success for them. World War II, same again. The Cold War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the War on Terror, that was another stroke of evil genius. As well as wars, revolutions so-called. What's a revolution after all but a turning of the wheel until it's back where it started? Play the music, sound the drums, spill some blood for the baying crowd, persuade the people they wanted it and did it by and for themselves. The glorious English Revolution, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the Great Leap Forward, the Great Reset. Musical chairs, and it's we the people that are meant to end up with no seats. The playbook has worked for ages, literally ages. But now I say it's finally different. And the difference may well have been made in the end by hubris and downright sloppiness. When it's all an illusion, when all the world's a stage, you do need good actors. Acting is only pretense, but done well, it can be profoundly moving, despite the audience knowing it's pretense. Done well by convincing actors, and everyone believes together. That's the point. Together. With suspension of disbelief comes, well, what? What comes instead of disbelief? Belief, of course, but no more, not now, maybe not ever again. What our present merry band of actors, not to mention their directors, producers, scriptwriters, set designers, lighting team, makeup, wardrobe, special effects supervisors, the whole sorry lot of them. What that whole sorry lot fail to understand is that you can't just stand on a flimsy stage with the house lights up and insist, in fact, order and frighten your paying audience into going along with them and believing what you want them to believe. If you're asking me, I think the beginning of the end of the oligarchs for the oligarchs was when they sought to dissolve and do away with the countries of the West. Here in Britain, for decades, the insidious bid has been to persuade everyone that Britain and traditional indigenous Britishness are shameful things. Generations have been subtly at first, but more and more stridently, told Britain and Britishness are so wrong they're best forgotten, swept away to make room for something else. Most recently, and having done so, they dissolved the national border and encouraged the arrival of millions of new people. It almost beggars belief when you look back at it now, but for a while there, we were actually expected to believe in the concept of assimilation, that all of the new millions would simply become indistinguishable from us. But what about all that shame about who we are? What about all that push to have as many of us as possible, certainly the gullible, internalise some sort of self-loathing? And of course, the new people had also had the chance to view us, to view Britain and Britishness from outside, and had inevitably concluded that we were a people and a place ashamed of ourselves, that we were a people and a place whose time had passed. Who in their right mind would assimilate with that? Become a willing part of collective shame and self-loathing? No one, that's who. And so new arrivals are invited to treat Britain and the British as a people and a place, an entire ancient idea and dream, not just ready for, in need of, but absolutely deserving of replacement. I say the hubris and laziness of the oligarchs, evident in the utterly unconvincing performance of their latest clutch of paid actors on stage, has resulted in what might be described as an omni-shambles. Too many have seen and understood that the motive behind the deliberate and cynical flooding of Britain and of Europe with people from outside, people with entirely different ideas about how to live, too many have seen that the flood was and is designed primarily to create fear and division. Fear and division that, as the oligarchs would have it, can only be fixed by digital ID for all. But it's never about what they say it's about. After all those ages of successful application of the old playbook, the latest crop of oligarchs have, not to put too fine a point on it, completely blown it. And so, back one last time to digital ID and why I say it won't work. It won't work because it's not built and never was intended to make any of us safe, but on the contrary, to make the oligarchs safe from us. It won't work because in the end, as always, it's only about money. Money taken from us, the many, and seized by them, the few. It won't work because on account of their hubris, the oligarchs have actually revealed to us what they're all about. Bad actors, bad scripts, bad special effects, disastrous production values all round. Digital ID won't work because the sales pitch is supposed to be about making this country and the people living in it safe. But too many people see that the directors of the disastrous bad acting have nothing but contempt for this place and for this people. Too many see that those who loathe us and our ancient homeland, those who would replace it and us with something without meaning, just a stepping stone to money and control, those that are committed to a new world order in which the massivas are nothing more than captive slaves, captive to an anti-human ideology. Too many people see it. Digital ID was supposed to be their grand finale, the big finish, but it's never about what they say it's about. Bad actors, the lot of them, acting in bad faith and with malice in mind. I'm telling you now, on account of all I've just said, digital ID, it won't work. I'm Neil Oliver, and this is GBN Originals. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Better yet, download the GB News app, available now from the App Store.